You're listening to Anything But Competitive by Geeks First, the show that brings trading card games to life with the latest news, reviews, and table talk. Here's your host, Jacob.
They can and will not be used against you in the court of flesh and blood.
No, I'll never survive the deathmatch arena like this.
Nah, I'm not the deathmatch arena champion. I didn't get my own CNC. Welcome. Thank you for joining, Alex. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
How's it going?
Here.
How's it been?
It's been. I've been hard at work getting a bunch of stuff up for Sage, so I'm just kind of rolling through all that, getting all the decks together, and then trying to find some time to actually figure out what like meta looks like for the format too. So
Meta, we don't have no Facebook here.
Yeah. I gotta put on my meta glasses for that shit.
Let me put on my little monocle.
Yes. my I'm good at flesh and blood monocle.
I get my little sticker and badge, and it says I am the champion. Apparently, that's what they do now. You get a card, and it says I am the champions. Yeah. So, seriously though, we I think the last time we talked was right before the announcement of the 6th celebration birthday bash,
yeah.
And it's kind of interesting to say that we were pretty on track with a lot of stuff, but at the same time we were wildly wrong with a lot of stuff too. And that's fine. So for those of you that may be tuning in for the first time, thank you very much. I don't know what I might be making a joke. I don't want to say I'm going to rename shit again, but I kind of thought about Sage's Workshop was kind of an interesting concept. Not that I want the podcast to be called that, but like I feel like Sage, the specific topic that you were talking about earlier, and kind of really the main focus of where things are, there becomes a wild point at which there's the old and the new, and there's got to be a line in the sand. And I want to talk. I think I kind of preface this. I sent you this bit earlier, but I want to have a conversation, heart to heart, about two really important things, which is apparently there are some people that are not so happy that this pre-constructed decks, the decks that they will be coming out with, are $20. And I would like to argue, or at least have a conversation around that. I feel that $20 is not only acceptable, but it could have been a lot more given the state of things.
Who in the world is telling people that $20 is too expensive?
You clearly have been hiding under a rock, because if you've been on like any of the Twitters and the
dude, I've just been literally a factory for Sage decks for this past like week, like the past like 3. I go, what is it, Thursday? I don't even know what day it is anymore. The stuff came out Sunday, so yeah, past like 4 days. I've just been like, I get up at 7 a.m. I record like 4 videos before 10 when I go to work, and then I get off work, and then I go back to recording more Sage stuff. Who is complaining about the $20 price tag? It doesn't matter who.
The internet.
Why are people doing that? Like,
well, I don't know, but I will at least give a couple of things. So I'm going to go back in time. Now, I, as a person that has been in the game of Flesh and Blood for a very, 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 very long time, I've bought a lot of these things. These are Blitz decks, for those that don't know. These are the OG. That's not original, but that's the those are hunted. These are the hunted ones. But over here, I transferred everything out of my nice fancy box, which I have cleared up to make room for all of the new Sage, because this will be the new nice Sage repository. I have ceremoniously put all the Blitz decks over there. And as I went through all these Blitz decks, I think I even might have sent something this to you, but there is kind of a master list of things that I don't want to say it sucks, but like as an example, I have a on my phone. I won't turn it around here because I've got other crap on here, but basically like the Sage banned and restricted list has Aether Iron. I'm just going to pick on that one. Well, that comes in the chain blitz deck. So if you owned the chain blitz deck, it is still mostly legal with the exception of that. And I believe also in the Monarch ones, they also had mentors. So again, that would be something that's not there. But let's just go down to something different, like Rake the Embers. I'm just randomly picking here. I'm not going to go over this whole list because I can post it in the comments, but you can figure it out as well. Rake the Embers Red came in the Dromai Blitz deck. So again, that would be 2 cards out of the 40-something cards, with an asterisk there, right, that are not valid to come back to. Now, there are other things like, Honing Hood, which is an Alexi Blitz deck, or like Snapdragon Scalers, which is in the Arachne Blitz, the Bolton, and the Chain. So there are a couple, right, like things that are around, like especially the equipment that are there. But all in all, why I'm even saying that is, yes, I originally was saying, holy crap, these are going to be worthless, these are going to be poo-poo, these are not going to be useful. And the reality is, they serve their purpose, and that I think while they are still mostly commons and rares for the most part, there are a couple that have some oddities like, mentors and things like that. The bulk of this could theoretically be repurposed to some degree. And these were in a $70 hunted box, right? Or there was a $70 Part the Mistveil and a $70 Rosetta. So when you think about $20, right? I got 4 decks, and in the New World, that would be $80. So I actually got a better deal buying the hunted collection for these 4 than I did if I were to buy them separately. Because you also get a playmat and some other things. But you didn't get a booster pack. I mean, in this one you did. So there's this like interesting dynamic that people are like, oh, this is wildly inaccurate. But then there are others that are out there that are saying, I didn't want to buy all 4. Like, I don't want to play Arachne. Screw the assassin class. Screw them. Like, I just want to play, Syndra. I want to play only Syndra. And only Syndra, you'd have to buy all the other ones. They need to sit here, and then the guy who's at our locals, he eats cards. So like he would have to eat all 120-ish of these cards just to buy this, because that's what he would do. I'm calling you out, Jake. I'm calling not this Jake, the other Jake, but you. I'm gonna get you on here, and you're gonna eat all 120 of these. But anyways, that's just I love having fun with him. He's a hoot. But the thing that I want to get your thought on is, at $20. When I look at other games, I mean, and I've looked at a lot of games, Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Star Wars Unlimited is a good example. Disney Lorcana is another example. Like, this is a whole gateway product, right? Like, I was sitting here trying to compare prices of different games. I think I had to pay like $50 or $60 for this, and I had to pay like 30 or 45, and there's 2 decks in here, and in this one there's like 2 or 3 decks. I mean, essentially where I'm going is like, this is in line with the expectation of value in my eyes. What do you, I know I've been blabbing here because I'm just like pounding this shit home, but like, I'm looking at all these other, I mean, even Smash Palace, God love it, it's like a $70, $80, purchase. You get a lot of boosters, but you get some core pieces. So if you take out the pack, you're only paying like $15-20 for this whole thing, and that's wildly cheap. So what are your thoughts on this? What have you played other games ever? Have you touched any other TCGs and experienced anything outside of the world of flesh and blood?
As a matter of fact, yes. I used to play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, and Yu-Gi-Oh does have right around, I believe, $10 to $15 structure decks that you can purchase that are just like core to a theme or an archetype that they call, and that's kind of what they want the decks to do. In this scenario, though, I think if there is anybody out there actually complaining about a $20 deck, there are 2 things. One, they'll never be happy a day in their life.
But I can put a $20 bill in that box, and you could get it with a free $20 bill.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know why people would imagine that these are going to be given out for free. Like, it's not.
You want free? They want free? Go to your LGS. This is free. This is free.
Yeah,
this is free.
That's free.
These are free. FREE. Like, The American Eagle, free and freedom.
Yep.
It's right here in your hands.
It's insane to me. So in the scenario, right, what you are getting, and comparing them to Blitz decks is like an interesting thing, right? Because the Blitz decks, they only contain cards from that set.
And they are not hyper competitive.
Yes, and they're not hyper competitive. They are meant to play into each other in a very weird, like, kitchen table-esque thing, and more notably are set up to be Blitz decks. So the ceiling for a Blitz deck is so much higher price-wise compared to the ceiling for a Silver Age deck. And once you buy a Silver Age deck, I mean, that's like this is the equivalent of buying Verdance at full power in Classic Constructed for $20. Like, that is the concept that they are trying to get with this. And I think it's super awesome that they're doing it. Do I think that having a pack in there was necessary? Maybe not, right? That could have brought it down to like $15, right? Sure. But at the end of the day, if the set that's coming out in set 18 is a set that is very close to what we want to, an upgrade for things in Silver Age, why the hell, why would paying $5 more extra dollars, you get a booster pack? I mean, like, that's fine. $20 is fine.
So there's actually
most people will go to their LGS and they'll pay entry for their thing and then buy like 3 packs on top of it. I spend like $20 at my LGS every Monday. Yeah, like, you're telling me I can't just get a structure, like a whole deck that says it's hyper competitive, tuned and designed by the dev team to be as competitive as can be in this format. And then what, right? Like, you're going to complain that, I had to buy my deck, and it turned out it wasn't really anything that I wanted to play because I don't know anything about the format. Maybe I'll just buy this other one instead for $20 and whatever. Like,
so let me read you something else between the lines that I think is going to be exciting, that also entices these decks to be one. I will echo something that MinMax just had a video on, and dear God, if these are limited allocation, I will bleep and scream into every available possible ethos, because these need to be so easily obtainable and unscalpable that I need to just be like, wow, I think MinMax did get 6 pallets or 20 pallets of these, because that is the only way this is going to work. With the caveat that I also have a inkling, and this lends into our buddy Dice Commander, who did a video on this too. I have a distinct feeling that after analyzing the 10 select heroes, which tie into the 10 current classes that exist in the game of Flesh and Blood that would be eligible for Blitz / Classic Constructed / UPF, with the exception of UPF gets a couple more with, Bard and Merchant and things. But the main true form classes, the 10 decks represent the 10 classes. Ergo, if we are looking for exclusive cards, this is the greatest way to disseminate brand new, interesting, common and rare cards that would become, quote unquote, meta defining for Silver Age or Sage, or even theoretically, now that Blitz is out the back door, Blitz, or just having access to something that could be also in the new set 18. I think that's the number, 1818. But I don't know how set 18 is going to be. But do you remember Everfest back in the day? Do you remember that fun set?
Yeah.
You know how Everfest had a carnival slot?
Yeah.
I was going to, for this bit, I was going to go grab tinfoil and put it on my head, because I was going to say my tinfoil theory, but I did not have time to prep for that. But my tinfoil theory is there will be, in these booster packs, a slot that will be essentially a Sage slot to help accelerate and or continue this. And the reason I think that is something they could do is because if they were to use the expansion slot, which we've already gotten accustomed to for the let's call it CC and just other, Living Legend, or just dumping those cards in at a cadence. They're not going to want to put a common back there. They're not going to put a rare. They might put a cold foil back there or something, but they wouldn't want to take those slots up because that's already dedicated for a different format. I feel like they could, like they did in High Seas, have a treasure pack. They could have something specific in the next set that if they're going to include it in the, now I get this plus a booster pack sandwiched in a box. I feel like you're going to have something that is going to tie in there, because James White said some interesting words, and I don't have them verbatim, but essentially because these are supposed to be competitive, right? They're supposed to be right out of the box able to pay your 20. I'm going to come back to this. I have a problem though with a $20 ticket to win $1 million. Like that whole scratcher mentality thing. Really, I was not a fan of that marketing, because I have a couple friends that became gambling addicts, and that is just to me, that's not a great way. I mean, I get what they were going for, but like, I don't know. I just personally have a little bit of a thing of, oh, I'm gonna get the $20 ticket, and I'm gonna yeah, buddy, I'm gonna win. I don't know. That's just...
I mean, to be fair, that $20 ticket is not just opening up the box and then bringing it to a thing and winning $2 million. You know what I mean? Like,
I know I'm being a smartass with that, but like. Specifically with this, I feel like the next set's going to have some sort of support for this, which is why if it's all classes, it can't be. They already said they're not doing any more of the like Dynasty, Crew, Everfest, right. But they could do a Carnivals type or a Sage slot, is what I'm going to coin it. And at that point, give the fundamentals to the character. So even if there were, let's say, exclusive cards in the Blitz decks, and you didn't want to buy the whole Blitz deck, maybe they would exist in that Sage slot in the actual pack themselves. I mean, again, this is just a straight theory on that, but I mean, how likely do you think something like that is for LSS to do?
I mean, I don't entirely think it makes sense from a design perspective, if I'm being entirely honest. Okay. I think how they're going to make set 18 become a core like boost to the Sage format is something I'm not quite grasping my head around, outside of maybe putting rare cards in the expansion slot. Because unless this set coming up that we all thought was like Monarch 3,
all generic,
ends up just being commons and rares the set, and no Majestics, no legendaries, no fableds, just rares and commons, that's going to be, for one, rares and commons, but also it can't broaden across all classes, because there's just no, they have to make it specific to some classes and then have an expansion slot for those, right? And so I don't think there's a world in which they give direct support to Silver Age in this next set. I think there are cards in Silver Age, like draft or limited pieces of equipment that you would use in the limited formats, that happen to also be quite good in the in the Sage format. But for it to be so core to Silver Age that, I mean, we're talking again, this is a budget format. So either the amount of Majestics and the amount of legendaries are so incredibly small compared to the amount of rares and commons, and then also they completely cut the expansion slot and they only have rares and commons in those slots instead of Majestics and legendaries for other heroes. That is, from a standpoint that I understand, if that is to happen, that's probably a pretty cool thing for people who play Sage. But I promise you, nobody's going to buy that product. And by nobody, I mean most people are not going to buy that product if that's the case.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, right? Is that seems to be... I've been trying to wiggle my head around how they would want to approach this too, because, again, looking... The three unknown questions. Will there be exclusive cards that will either be in these... And they don't need to be... I guess that breaks into two forks. Exclusive cards that already exist with alternate art or something to entice existing entrenched players to buy it. Because face it, buying all 10 of these decks, are 5 and 5, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, at full MSRP is $200, right?
Yeah.
So I'm spending $200. That is the equivalent of buying 2 boxes. So for buying bulk cards that theoretically, we could build with cards we should own today if there are quote unquote no new cards in it, right? Because this could also truly exist where I saw Dash as an example. Dash IE, my OG original favorite fan, pistol blazing, let's go have fun, puff puff, not puff puff Dash, but just the OG Dash.
Right.
What's she gonna look like? How's she gonna function? Because her pistol is available, she's available, but all the tools that existed to make that archetype work don't exist in common and rare. What do I do?
I mean,
are they going to release like a common or a rare pseudo shittier version to help make that a deck archetype? Otherwise, Max, Teklo, Dash. I mean, Teklo is totally basically boned. I mean, there are rare equipment, so he can function.
No, Teklo's boned. You can say that.
but they're all going to end up being basically almost the same. And I'm not trying to shit on it because that's not the intention here, but like I cannot see where I would make my different mechanologist heroes different enough to actually say, why would I want to have this deck? Why would I want to have this deck? Why would I want to have this deck? I think at the core, they all sound the same without certain additions that do not exist today. Even if we didn't pick on mech, let's pick on a class we both know really well. Do you know like Ninja pretty like Katsu or Katsu?
I know plenty of classes pretty well. I mean, especially when it comes to mech. I mean, I played Commoner Dash for a long period of time, and you didn't even run pistol. Like that's where I'm at, right? Having played so much Commoner in my time, and playing so many budget formats, checking out Clash, doing all this stuff there, never once was I like, you know what this needs? Rare or common induction chamber. Rare or common plasma purifier, right? It's not about the items you get out. The thing that makes Dash good in these young hero formats at a budget is the fact that all of her really powerful boost cards, well, most of them at least, are in common and rare, and it's
T-bones. Literally
just cool. You get to play T-Bone, you get to play Outpace, you get to play Lay Waste, you get to play throttles are insane. You get to play there are all these cards, and not to mention Dash, regular Dash can start with any item. It's going to be exactly like if that deck, when I get my hands on that deck, if that deck is not one hyperdriver, a bunch of crankshafts and what that Big Berthas and one hyperdriver and Talishar, the weapon.
But shouldn't that be Max? Like I would think that
Nope. That's Dash. You're trying to win so fast, it's insane. Like you have the ability to just continuously push that through. And yeah, sure, Max can do that, but Max, in order for him to get a hyperdriver out, he would need to boost and then pay 2 resources to then make a hyperdriver and then pass, right? What Max does is create a bunch of hyperdrivers, get himself set up on like a pitch list plan, and then send in a bunch of damage, right? And that's kind of how he does it. You don't have the time to do any of this like cute setup stuff in a 20 health format. So when you're talking a Dash that gets to send throttle for 6 go again, get a resource, zipper hit red for free, pretty much, 0 to 60 red, and then also followed up with a overblast for, I don't know, what the hell is that, 6? Like you're dealing nearly the entirety of your opponent's life total in one line. And you get to do that 3 to 4 times in a row. If you draw a hand of all blues, that's just kind of it. You die. But you still get to send some portion of damage at your opponent to really like feed them through. But it's a race.
So real quick, there's 6 weapons that she could leverage. Banksy, which is technically illegal because it's a max specialization, so that's out. Symbiosis Shot, which is a Dash specialization, but technically for the new Dash, so you could.
No, old Dash can run it.
Well, yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is it didn't come out with the old Dash, so you can use it because Dash is the ambiguous term, but it really was modeled around I think the new dash, but maybe again you could still use it. You have Teklo Blaster, which actually came out of the TCC Tulane Community College set.
Yeah.
Plasma Barrel Shot, and then your Teklo pistol, and then on top of that you have the final one, which is Talishar. So it is intriguing to, I would still say Symbiosis Shot is still a valid, good thing to use, but you have to get Steam counters on it. And that also includes, trying to... I don't know if there's easy ways to do that. I haven't played much with trying to put Symbiosis Shot on, I would say, a commoner version of Dash IE. But, again, I'm curious if this is the time they introduce a new... for all 10 of these, right? A new weapon, or this is a great example of when they could drop in some new weapon that impacts that class and include it in the class deck.
That's fine, right? The whole thing that I talked about this earlier, I think with Nathan from Bold Brew Games. My whole thing is that if they're going to make exclusive cards for heroes to play to get them to be better in a format, like maybe they aren't really already good and they need a little bit more support, does that support translate well into CC? And if it does, is the allocation of these decks going to be high enough to where when all 8 of the Arachne Marionette players want to buy the Arachne Web of Deceit decks because there's a really good, Chaos Assassin rare that comes in that deck, what does that translate as? Because if this, it's fine to have them, but I want them to be on shelves like Blitz decks are on shelves right now. You know what I mean? I want them to be available at all times for all players who are trying to get in. But I also have, again, this is something we have not talked about yet, which is the hero legality portion of it all, right?
Yeah, and I was going to come to that the next. But yeah, go ahead.
And that's essentially it. The hero legality, this is a topic that is due to be talked about at Worlds. Worlds, we will learn more about what the hero legality system is going to look like in Silver Age. Currently, all rare or common or token heroes are available to be played in Silver Age. But when that happens, when we learn more, either they're going to do something along the lines of an LL system for Sage, or they're going to do some kind of eternal rotating system, which the rotation kind of gave me an idea, because why would they call the first 2 Silver Age
Chapter 1,
Precon
Chapter
decks
2
chapters, right? Exactly.
Well, because they love Disney Lorcana. They want to be a Disney princess in their heart of hearts.
Better not be the case there for that. I don't care about that shit. I literally am just if that's what we're going to be going off of, is the heroes legal in chapters 1 and 2 are good until 2027. And then so on and so forth.
Let me read this. I sent this to you, but I want to go ahead and read this to the crowd that might be watching here. CC currently has 38 legal heroes that are 15 in LL. Living Legend has a total of 53 heroes. Sage legal heroes as of this moment are 58 total, with none knowing nothing of the next set. Blitz has 58 non-Living Legend heroes and 11 in Living Legend status, and then UPF has 80 total heroes that you can choose from. Now, one of the other topics that I've heard a lot of people chat about is, oh my God, we've lost our Emperor and my Blaze, which is now ceremoniously positioned in the background, blurry as hell. But these that I'm aware of are the heroes that are currently in the unknown category. There is actually a decent chunk of these. I didn't think there were this many of them. But I do have to do a correction to myself, because Bravo Flattering Showman comes in this deck as a rare, but comes in the other version, I think in the Round the Table, or I'm sorry, the Smash Palace as a Majestic. So technically, he's actually available in Sage. I didn't realize that at first when I was doing this. So these heroes...
He's one of the Precon decks.
Well, yeah, and that was why I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So Blaze Firemind is a promo. one of the only few ones on this list actually that is still strictly just a promo. Brevant, Civic Protector, Dorinthia, Quicksilver Prodigy, which came in the 2-player Dory vs. Rhinar deck. Emperor is one of the legendaries. Enigma New Moon is a legendary. Jinnis What You Need is a Majestic. Melody Sing Along is a Majestic. Prism Advent of Thrones is Majestic. Professor Teklavas is a Majestic. Shyana is a legendary. And Yoji, which I was really sad to realize that Yoji is not possible. And then somebody else talked to me when I was sharing this list to ask if I got everything. I guess there's a different Valda that I don't quite remember where it's from. But is there another
Master
Valda?
Pack Guardian. So Valda came out in Everfest.
But that Valda is
as
a
Majestic
token hero, right?
So the one in Mastery Pack Guardian is a token. The
You're
one
talking
from
the one in
Everfest is a
Everfest.
Majestic. Yeah.
Okay. And the one from Everfest is but it's not the same hero ability, right? Or is it?
It is. It is
Oh,
the
it
same.
is.
It is nothing has changed from
So
Valda.
then that was legal in this format because they downshifted it to it. Okay.
Correct.
So for those that are out there that are sad, know that I am sad too, that I don't get to play Yoji and that I don't get to play Emperor and that I don't get to play Blaze, because I really was looking forward to learning some of that. After Matt, one of our locals that's really big into Wizards, I'm like really starting to try to figure out how to do this whole Wizard thing because it's interesting. He is very, very salty, though. I'm going to have to chat with him on another topic because apparently he feels like they've taken a lot of the tools away from the Wizards, like the ragamuffins and some other things. He feels like they've been unfairly, unjustly targeted, and I don't know how to go with that.
I don't know.
But to kind of circle back with what you were saying, set 18. I don't know how they're going to accept or help every class without fundamentally changing the way a set dynamic is, unless they do some sort of slot system in like a booster pack. But if the idea is that these are supposed to be also hyper competitive, one of the other things, and I'd love to sit down with you before we got plenty of time, I'd like to take all 10 of these heroes and think of, if we don't get anything new, what is the best or quote unquote hyperist competitivist, what would that deck box look like? And then when that deck list is finally revealed, compare what the community thought is the, go-to best deck list for -IE and compare it to what this is. Granted, there are a bunch of unknowns there. We don't know if they're going to get new equipment. We don't know if we're going to get, because that's another thing they could do. They could drop new equipment in there, just bing, bang, boom, and have all sorts of fun. I do also very much am curious, though. The original Blitz decks, one of the complaints everyone had was they are just the 40 cards, which was the Blitz format at the time, and they didn't have any AB. They didn't really have any sideboard. These are going to be, from what I understand, 55 cards, so they also have the sideboard and other equipment baked into the deck already. Is that your understanding, too?
Yep. Yeah. So it's because you still have to present 40 cards in your main deck, but you are given a sideboard, right? And I think that's oddly enough, I think that the sideboard aspect, not that I don't trust the design space of LSS to be good in creating something that is competitive, but I think that's what maybe they're leaning a bit more towards when they say that the decks are competitive, is that they're coming with a sideboard, right? Like an armory deck is an armory deck because it doesn't have a sideboard and you don't really care because it's like you're picking it up to bring it to an armory, right? A Blitz deck is a starter. It was their initial vision of a starter deck that wasn't supposed to have anything else. It was just, here's some bulk from the set that kind of brings out the core of the hero. Here you go, send it. This, on the other hand, is 55 cards, including your hero and your weapon and your equipment and everything else there. But you also get a sideboard. But the sideboard could be incorrect, right? Illusionists could very well be like some of the more powerful stuff.
Are these
and
gone
not
now?
no poppers?
Like, I guess that's the other $1 million question. They had this not even a year ago, and they touted it as the new way to come into Flesh and Blood. But it maybe, I mean, these are technically not really going to do all that much that I'm aware of for a new, like, if a new player sees these, our LGS, I think, is selling these for $16, by the way. So very closely tied to what the new, Sage deck is going to be. So if that's $16.99, why would somebody want to buy that over one of the new Sage decks? I mean, there is the hero and some other additional cards in it, and obviously get some, different things. But I am trying to help align myself with how do I help tell a new player what do you do come obviously February 2026. The answer is going to be very different, but like right now in this 3 or 4 month gap, right? Because we're in October, I think October, November, December, January, February. You got 4 months. So in 4 months, when people are like, "Oh, I'm hyped about this Sage. What can I do right now?" I would say it sucks to spend $16 on a deck that really may or may not actually be cards that are useful to. I don't know is this even like, how do you even help me with this? I guess I don't even know how to form my question really good with this, but I don't feel right saying, hey, go buy the Hunted collection, go buy the Rosetta collection, go buy the for God's sakes the Mistveil collection. Why would you do that? Like, I guess the hero is technically legal again, like Zen's back to legal, Dash is back to legal, all the LL people that went out,
right?
So yes, you could have the hero, but you could also go talk to 20 people that have, you know, 1 billion, you know, copies of the young hero tokens, and it's like, So what's your thoughts? What would you tell somebody in the next 4 months to buy?
In the next 4 months, I just tell them to buy the Sage decks. That's a pretty simple thing for me to do. I think that.
Well, I'm saying in the interim, what do you do between now and in the 4 months is what I'm saying.
I mean, go ask your local LGS if you want to look through their bulk bin and get cards from it. You can. I mean, Jesus, there's probably somebody at your locals that's willing to give you cards for free. I'm almost certain of it. I know that if you're really trying to play Sage, like, you need to find out other people who are willing to play Sage, right? That's like the first thing you should do, is find a play group locally that also wants to play Sage. And if you can do that, that play group probably has extra Sage decks built. You might not even need to buy anything. You might just need to show up to the event and somebody say, "Hey, I've got," because a lot of us in franchise players, we have the cards. We have, I have an entire battle box of like 12 decks that I'm bringing with me at all times. And so if anybody just wants to sit down at the table and be like, "Oh, yeah, I was really interested in Flesh and Blood, and like, I know they said they were coming up precons, and I know Sage technically isn't out yet until, the precons aren't out yet until February. Technically, Sage is truly deeply a format on November 13th. I would love to play, and I have no problem just being like, yeah, here's a deck. Like, which of these heroes look the prettiest to you? Like, you can try it out.
If I don't have it blinged out, I'll just let him keep it, because it should just be commons and rares. There should be nothing that's really. I mean, there are some commons that have gotten a little expensive, but omitting like Sink Below and some other ones, there's really, I mean, even at $1 a card, like, I think again, MinMax sells all their commons at a minimum of 50 cents. So like, okay, 55 times 50 cents. What is that? That's like a, 55 times 0.5, that's 27.5. So okay, yeah. Call it a $30 custom deck if you were to buy everything for 50 cents. And let's say a couple of rares get thrown in there, or whatever. So anywhere from $20 at the absolute lowest end to $50, $60 maybe at a high end. I know for Puffin, right, the Copper Cog, the new card, is $4 for that rare. Those are really expensive for some reason.
Yeah.
So to get 2 of those, or 3 or 4, because they're unlimited, right? They break some rules. So if you want 6 of those in a deck, or 5, that's $5, $10, $15, $20, $25. That's an exception, not a rule, though. And luckily I already have all the ones I need, but I don't have enough to necessarily give out to a bunch of people. But I feel like that's going to be a stress on that particular card. As an example, I see that card going up because there's just that's a break the rule card. So it's an exception, not a rule. But like looking at the Bravo, Flattering Showman intro deck, there's not a lot of cards that you really need to go searching for in that. Or hell, if you have Mastery Pack Guardian, there's tons of that, or even Super Slam. We've been ripping packs of Super Slam like no one's business, just to try to, play around with just different, decks and archetypes. So there's just so many commons and rares that are in there. So you could build the newer Pleiades, or, Tough Nut as an example, or even, I don't know how Goliath is going to be weird in this format, because he Tough Nut has the 3 life, right? That's like Data Doll. Which technically Data Doll is legal as well, right? Data Doll?
Yeah. Data Doll's a rare.
So you have Data Doll, and you have Tough Nut, which 3. And then you have Lyeth, who has 5 card draw, or 5 intellect. So that's kind of intriguing. But again, you do lose access to super rares. You do lose access to, and then a lot of the super rares, came out in Super Slam. And now I wonder, in the back of my mind, if the reason they did that was to actually prevent those cards from going into Sage. Because if you kind of go back to the Wayback Machine, right, they didn't just magically say, hey, by the way, Sage is coming. Like, they probably knew this was coming, which goes back into my thought of why we didn't get a special Blitz collection thing for, Super Slam. I now wholeheartedly feel this was, they probably made that decision somewhere between the high seas or right after Part the Mist Veil, or was Rosetta was after Part the Mist? No, yeah, right. It was Mist Veil hunted Rosetta, or Mist Veil Rosetta.
It was Mist Veil Rosetta hunted.
Gotcha.
And then High Seas Super Slam.
Yeah,
High Seas Super Slam did not have Blitz decks.
High Seas just had the standard, I would say adult CC Gravy Bones Precon armory deck, and with that you could basically build a Blitz deck. So I would imagine you could build with those cards and maybe a few others, because I mean it's a pretty good deck to begin with, I thought. So that might be pretty close to where it is. I don't know. It's just there's so many freaking ways you can do this. I mean, to quote several people, the meta is wide open. There is no meta. Like, everyone keeps asking, what's the meta? What's the meta? What's the meta? It's like, just play what you want to play. Now, there are some heroes that are probably going to do much better.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, and I have not done any deeper testing just because I'm so deep in this A to Z series thing that I'm building, but
it's a good series, by the way. If you haven't checked that out, go. I've been listening to it as I'm driving home in the morning, while my second half
thank
of the
you.
trip. So yeah,
I've been so deep in those, and honestly, the thing is that nothing. I don't really think anything changed. Project Blue has been being brewed for like 6 months now, and like people have been playing the game for like this format for a long while in like multiple armories and like everything around. And let me tell you, the loss of some of these cards is not the end of the world. Honing Hood making Azalea not have a 5-card hand on turn 0, or turn 2 or whatever, sure, that's fine, but Azalea can still send +9 onto a dominated arrow and kill you. Like, that's still 3/4 of your life total on dominate with a bunch of on hits, so it's still really powerful.
Speaking of
Oldhim still having the ability of defense reactions in their own hero text is huge. You have Ira, obviously value engine Ira in a young format where numbers matter. Ira is huge into the meta. And then Briar has just nonstop been blowing people up for a long time. And I don't think that's planned to change anytime soon, unless we see some really absurd stuff with, or I guess like absurd's not the word I'm talking about, but like more like a different approach to what they're doing with hero legality.
Well, like, somebody, I'm not going to call this person's name out, but somebody on the Facebook Flesh and Blood TCG page said Silver Age equals 2 turn games. And I was like, at first thinking about this, saying, okay, that really can't be totally true. But then watching several versions of people play, I mean, it can easily be a 2-turn game. It can be a 3 or 4-turn game. But at the same time, you're dealing with 20 life, and with every card basically centering around a 0 for 3 as the standard, right? 3, 6, 9, 12. A hand of 4, a actual just vanilla, no above rate, says in 1 turn you should do about 12 damage. Now, whether the other person blocks it or gives no craps is a whole different story. But then when you get your next hand, that's another 3, 6, 9, 12. Well, what is 12 plus 12? 24. Well, when your young hero has 20 health, unless you had blocking with your equipment or blocking with cards in hand, that is lethal. You're dead. Like, it's, yes, 2 turns could be a thing. But is aggro gonna be the only game plan, or will there be a mid range? Will there be a fatigue? I mean, Icelander is really good at ice stuff. Oldhim is really good at slowing things down. I'd be curious to see how these heroes come back, even though I did not enjoy those type of gameplay. I feel like in the lower tier Blitz / Sage, or now Sage ecosystem, yes, I still don't understand, again, why Pummel exists in the ecosystem, because I do feel that's going to be very well abused. But if I don't get access to my sync belows or something, and some guardian says like bada bing bada boom, Pummel, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the other thing too, is each class has its own set of D-reacts still. Like,
most of them
I think
do,
that's the other thing.
But
like,
didn't they ban? I thought they banned Flick Flack. Wasn't that one of the ones that got banned?
Yeah, but Flick Flack's did. But yeah, ninjas still have Wax On. That's still a D-react. And Wax On is like huge when your opponent's like an assassin or something. Like,
sure, because you're gonna
one D-react, cool. You block 5. Like, that's crazy. You also Ninja also has ambush cards. Tiger's Eye Reflex is a rare, so you get to block from your freaking arsenal anyway, and then make a tiger if you're doing that too.
I am noticing that there's a lean toward dual weapons. Like, there's a Dory list that my one of the people in our locals, because they are very excited about Sage, so I'm definitely glad that they are willing to play Sage, because they didn't want to play Bliss, but they're willing to play Sage. But like, there's a double axe Dory list people, it seems that leaning toward multiple smaller weapons seems to be, there's some mathematics somebody has come up with that's like, this plus the thing makes you kind of have to use a card or block it. So, double daggers on an assassin, double, Kadachis on a, ninja, double, axes with a Dory. I feel like if you're not hyper aggressive, those are the types of weapons that people are leaning toward, is the single-handed, dual-wielding type weapons, and I'll be curious to see how that pans out too. I still want a stupid generic weapon that anybody can have that's like, stabby stab dagger. It's just like a, pay 3, I don't know, or crack a gold, or do something silly with it. Like, I'm sure that'd be broken in some deck, but like, just, I really cannot understand why we do not have like a arsenal or an armory of like generic weapons or generic bows or just something. But I know that's going to be hard to balance around, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's gonna be a difficult balance, and I hope that there's not a whole lot of I hope there's not generic weapons. Like Talishar is nice because it's a 2 cost 4 power attack that just says you can use it 3 times and it breaks, right? But in a 20 health format, that's really important because it's 12 threatening 12 damage over the course of a game. It's all you needed to do is just send that kind of damage over.
Sure.
But the interesting thing for all of it,
like in that level of format, that's better than a pistol. But in CC, the pistol was better because you could do a lot more long term and get the the
exactly. Well,
going.
that's exactly it. You have an opportunity to regain tempo. Regaining tempo in a 20 health format is really hard, and so that's kind of where a lot of people have the that outlook of it. Oh, it's a 2-turn format. If 2 aggro players go against each other, one aggro player wins the die roll, that player goes second. That player is already in the lead because they just get to block out their opponent's first turn, draw up, and now they're sending all this damage. Their opponent's either not going to block it, keep their hand, or they're going to block it, send less damage than you are threatening at your opponent.
Yep. And
therefore, you're always going to have the life lead, and you're going to have tempo. So... Yeah, it's different. I mean, I think that if they are going to make changes to the format, I don't know what they'd I don't know what they could even possibly consider, because I still love the power level of Sage and I love what it's meant to do as a format, which is get people in at a budget level.
It's a lot of positives. It really is.
But I still send, I can't say, oh well, it's not a 2-turn game, right? It's not that. Sometimes it is more based on the format. And sometimes you you send a romping club for 14, and your opponent takes all 14. They send 10 damage at you. You say no blocks, and then you send 16 where they can't block anything. Like, if you seriously don't think Rhinar is going to be a problem in this format, like Rhinar is going to be huge. And
Matt,
this
I'm
is again
calling
where
you
I'm
out,
down
Matt.
to like.
This is the exact conversation I had with Matt throughout the day when I was driving. Like, he was like, "Yeah, hey, I'm gonna really work on this Rhinar, because Rhinar's gonna be so sick, like intimidate, and basically just say I'm taking all this. Like, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be a wild ride.
It's insane. But I'm crazy.
So,
I think it's gonna be a good time. I mean, I like. The entry point of the format is really the key thing that people need to focus on, at least from the standpoint of it. But just the whole brute long box, my God. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very thankful, but I think like whatever they're going to do with the hero legality is probably going to change the way we look at the format, and hopefully
I don't think they're going to change
for
the
better
hero
thing.
legality. I think they had specifically published those ones on purpose. I think the Majestic heroes are destined for a different future. I don't think we're going to get, unless they downshift a Blaze,
so when I say hero legality, I'm not talking about getting Majestic heroes into Silver Age. I don't think they will ever.
You're talking about the rotation for how they plan on.
Yes. I'm talking on how they plan to keep it an eternal format where you don't have to sell out of a hero, but you can still. But it's going to be fresh and new every season.
So,
right?
Do you know about Pokemon much? I want to call out something here because this is a good tie-in. So on Pokemon cards, there's a legality symbol in the bottom corner. Like, this one's a letter G, and depending on this is from 2023. I'm guessing that there is, cards that come from a later. So like this one's 2021. It's the letter E. I don't know if I have any newer than that, but why I'm saying that is that could very well be something that they end up doing, right?
Yeah.
They could totally go down that path, and if that's the case, then by golly, that's where it is. Wow, I didn't realize I had these. Oh, I found a Mew. Look at that. I love.
Yeah, I've got a little Torchic up here. I've got some Pokemon cards I just opened up.
Can't escape the Pokemans, but
Nope.
Regardless, it is interesting to think that, okay, so yes, I think that's going to be what people are very much anticipating at Worlds. And you said you may be attending there in person, right?
I will be at Worlds. Be at Worlds, yes.
So I will not.
So
I wish I could, but just need to hunker down on some stuff. So I'd rather work on that.
Yeah.
But I think that having boots on the ground would be a very interesting experience to see the stuff that they don't really you can watch a lot of live streams, but there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. Like what people are doing, how people are going. And I might even have you if you don't want to get one of the min-max shirts, because I think they're going to be there with some spend $100 on something and get like the Duskblade shirt that they have. That's kind of hilarious. I really like that shirt. So might have to convince you to do something with me if you don't want one. So
yeah,
but
yeah, Worlds is going to tell us a lot. We're going to know more. I obviously we'll probably know more about the next set at Worlds, so that will give us a better idea about what we're kind of working with. I plan to be there for the keynote. I plan to be there obviously I'm going to be there for the entire convention. I'm going to be there willing to jam Sage with everybody and anybody that I possibly can. And I think we just need a little bit more, and people will kind of feel a little bit more confident with getting into it. But
there's a lot of cold foils and commons that have gone up in price because of this. There's a lot of there's a lot of Marvel heroes that have kind of become more sought after because now they have a home, right? They didn't really have a home before. It'll be interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I mean, as far as like blinging out the deck, it shouldn't be too big. I mean, really, it just kind of comes down to I just want people to have fun. I just want it to be a fun thing. We sit down, we be a little competitive about it, and like being competitive at a budget level is awesome because you just get to go, hey, this is my favorite deck. What's your favorite deck? It's this. Okay, cool. Let's play each other. Like, it's not like, oh, okay, well, I didn't get the playset of Shelter of the Storm to like hyper defeat your
God.
Syndra deck, so I can't
have you looked
do
at
so well.
TCG Player? Speaking of Celestial of the Storm, did you see how expensive that card has got now?
Yeah, they're like $150 right now, right?
I don't know if it's because we're leading into Worlds. Like, I don't know if there's a hype cycle
Yeah,
behind
it is.
something.
It is because we are leading in the worlds. Yeah, because Syndra's again a very popular hero.
It was just when I noticed that, I was like, wow, this is. I have to hide my water from you, Cat. Holy bejeebus. Ah, man. Cat has finally decided to grace us with their presence. Yes, Tom.
Little baby.
But yeah, that's pretty much everything I had. I wanted to kind of talk about the $20 price point. Why, really it's not that bad. Kind of just Sage in general. What the next steps might look like. What Worlds is gonna function. And I mean, the whole everything is just open to whatever you want to do. So
yeah,
I have been saying to myself, I like Katsu, so I'm gonna try to really focus on a Katsu. I'm gonna focus on a dash, both the OG dash and probably database is fine. I'd love to try to even really work on a data doll. I like Teklo a lot too. So there's just so many heroes that I'm like, I would be excited to play because it's not going to break the bank I don't need all the cards that I sold off that I don't really need for other classes. Like if I look at Betsy or Olympia, I really, really want to learn Olympia. So like I would really enjoy trying to play those heroes and just see where it ends up. I think that'll be...
Yeah,
that's the exciting piece. There's a lot to like.
Yeah, for sure.
What are you doing?
She loves it. She wants to say hi.
Yeah, she
oh
totally,
my gosh.
She is a very lovey cat, and
she loves you.
Yeah,
you can tell how much she loves you.
She even bites my nose, which is super fun.
Sweet little baby.
Yeah, I'm really glad we rescued her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I completely forgot to go on this tangent when we were talking about it. This is a PSA to everybody who does think that $20 structure decks for a budget format are too expensive. You can purchase those same cards probably online through TCG Player for $35 probably.
Oh, and through 20 different vendors.
Yeah, and through 20 different vendors. Also, biggest PSA, if $20 is still too expensive for you, I need you to understand that this is a luxury hobby and not a need.
Yes.
You probably have better things that you need to spend your money on. No, go put money in your savings account. Go do something better with your money, right? Literally, like anything better. If you at all look at a $20 structure deck that you never have to buy again, mind you, unless you want to switch classes, if you think that is too expensive, I promise you, you are better off getting your life together, saving up some money, and when you eventually want to try Flesh and Blood, because your life is in order and you're not dealing with, $75,000 in debt or some kind of nonsense, like, then maybe it can happen, right? Or if you have friends, have a friend get you one for your birthday. Yeah, there's always these there's tons of opportunities. I do not think that there ever should be an argument in 2025 of all times that $20 is too expensive for somebody to play at a competitive level where it's the same as everybody else, right? Michael Hamilton, if they ever play Sage, is not spending $850 on a more tuned, specifically built Icelander deck. It's the same one, if not maybe a couple cards difference, and those couple cards are like pet cards or they fit the meta differently, and those cards are also 50 cents for you to swap them out if you're trying to be that specific deck.
Unless you're trying to get the gold
going
foils
to be different.
Or the gold foils. I am a little sad that my Vest the First Fist gold foil, which I was really excited to get. I need to get a different gold foil now, because now I can't use a gold foil because it's not legal in Sage.
Yeah,
sad. So,
that is true. That is true.
have to go search for them. All right. Well, any final comments, remarks, or anything else at this point?
Go hang out over on my channel if you want to see a bunch of Sage decks being built. I hope to have a better idea about what metas look like, kind of moving forward. I did see that Talishar actually did put up not just a Silver Age queue, but also a competitive Silver Age queue. So
that's
nice. I'm very curious to see what's being sent through there. It's probably the same stuff, but it is nice to have that there. I'd say best thing to do from now until Worlds is enjoy your favorite hero. Maybe you didn't get to play a hero because you started the game later and you want to try a different hero, see what they were like. Go ahead and give them a shot in Sage. It takes no time at all to find the cards. Everybody's got them. And just enjoy it, because we don't know what's going to happen at Worlds. We don't know what things are going to look like. Hopefully you still get to play that hero after that time, but if not, just know that there's plenty of heroes to choose from, and as long as, if you're trying to be hyper competitive in the meta, just kind of keep an eye again also on my channel, or I'm sure Andrew over at Dice Commando is going to be talking about that too. So
yep, he talks quite a bit about it. There's a lot of content coming out on it too right now. There's just everyone's excited about it. So I'm sure whatever you're looking for, it's going to be out there. There's a lot of opinions, right? You can change a tire 20 ways. It doesn't mean taking a hammer and blowing out your rim is the right way to do it. But you could also do a lot of different options. But just depends on what you want to approach and how you want to go see it. I mean, and that's the other thing. I know I'm not an expert in certain classes, so I was going to, over the next couple of months, be chatting with folks or trying to get people that are like, hey, I know Wizard really well. So then I could have them speak to, okay, what game plan could a Wizard do within the confines of, say, a now Sage format, or what could a ninja look like? Well, definitely, there's probably 3 or 4 different ways you could build a ninja. And it'll just be really interesting to see all these come to fruition as people get further down the design standpoint. And again, as every set comes out, now there's, let's look at this card from a CC perspective. Let's look at this card from a Living Legend perspective. Let's look at this card from a Sage perspective. Let's look at it from a UPF perspective. There definitely are going to be cards that will shine in one format over the other. And that'll be cool to see long term as it goes. So,
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks very much for hanging out, and for all those of you that are here, I'll say the typical YouTuber thing, which is like, share, comment, subscribe. The Kitay says hello, since the Kitay is also being a real nincompoop at the moment. But
oh my gosh!
If you like to talk about Sage, I definitely know that I know Alex will be focusing a lot on that. I'm definitely going to prioritize that over some other content that I was looking at working on, because really, it fits more of my gameplay style, and I feel that is more up my alley. And I'm glad that it is it's here, because thinking about casual play is real complicated prior to the Sage announcement, because there's just not a lot of and maybe you're looking at Sage from a competitive standpoint, but still there's a casual component to playing Sage. And I have a video that will be coming out where I was actually showing one of my friends that I tried to get into the Round the Table product. Oh my gosh, it would have been right when that came out. And I recently showed her a Super Slam pre-release kit. And just to see the reaction of, oh, look at this artwork, or look at these cards. And it was just unique to see her take, because she's more of a Magic player. So that'll come out on my channel at some point. But it was interesting to see that. So, all right. Well, Alex, it's been fun. It's been a blast. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day. And until next time, may your games be fun and your friendships grow. Cheers, and I'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.